Absolutely beautiful.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Just on the computer in the workshop, looking at these splices for these oak beams. So I've just checked the lengths of the timbers. I've got to make up a 13.5 metre long beam across the front of this garage. It looks like this. And we've done all the posts in the previous videos. I started to machine this end piece here, but I'm going to try and get this piece of timber out of my spare piece of timber because one of the lengths was bad. So in order to do that, the spare piece of timber was long enough to make another one of these long ones if necessary. So I'm going to get these long pieces cut and machined while I can, and I've got a spare available. Then once that is completed, I can carry on with this end frame here and get everything finished. I've just drawn these splices out. So we've got the long beam on the trestle in the shed. I've just been moving that around with the mat rope. But the joint we're going to be making is this sort of spliced, it's a simple joint, but the idea is you're splicing this beam to this beam with a slightly tapered joint. And the tapered joint gives this wedge system, so these are a couple of folding wedges, and it gives that wedge system a nice strong position to sort of mount into both beams. And you can actually create quite a short splice because of this, because it's on the angle. You're not relying purely on end grain for this wedge that holds it all together to work on the end grain of the timber. You're sort of going into the grain of the wood. It's a really nice strong wedge point on these pieces of timber here. That's sort of like your weak section of your wood. And I want to try and keep it simple because it's such a big thing when you're on site trying to get all these joints straight and lined up, and you might have a bit of movement in the timber or something slightly twisted. You want to be able to make quite a simple and quick adjustment to these joints if necessary. So I'm going to keep it nice and simple, just a flat cut with that socket cut out for wedging them together. I've designed it so that they're opposing, so like they match, and they sit on this centre post. And the reason I've done it this way around is so that this one that's supported with two upright posts can take the weight of this bit of beam downhill through that post, and it should support the joints nicely. So yeah, let's get into it. I happen to have a piece of plywood here that's an offcut from when I made that spindle moulder. It's like the underside support from that spindle moulder video. So I can reuse that. For any of the keen-eyed amongst you, these black replacement strips for the festal rails are way better. They're so much better than the clear ones that come with it. So if the little edge strip, like the protective strip that you cut the first time you use it, is worn on your rails, then I'd really recommend replacing it with these black ones. I'll leave a link to it down below. They're bloody brilliant. So let's put a reference line on here, just squaring it around the beam. To do the template cut, I'm going to use this router cutter, kindly sent to me by Trent. I love this stuff. Just to line that up on there, make sure it's going to create a nice cut down this end. I've got about 100mm of extra beam, so I can cut some of this off both ends. I'm going to tick this line around, so that's my square line. For lining the template up on the other side, exactly the same place. can square that reference line over then. Put a little mark that side and check it on both sides of the beam, like using the square referencing from both sides. Get a good indication whether it's an accurate square line. And I can pop that jig back on the beam, line it up with my square line. Now I've just got the really easy task of deepening these cuts so that they meet in the middle, and then pairing it all nice and flat. Want a bit more safety gear on than that really, but yeah, chainsaw's the way forward. Dipped under a little bit on the bottom edge there, but it's right where the wedges are going to go, so there's only like 3 or 4 mil where it'll have an open bit of joint, so not the end of the world for green oak, and it's on the inside as well, so got to set it up, should be fine. It's the end beam, so I don't need to do anything with this end. I can just cut that off to length, so if it is a problem, I can slide that along a bit so it's not the end of the world. But I think the method is going to be to do stage cuts with the saw every 2 or 3 inches and then cut into them. That should leave me with this nice little rebate. The edge I can just run down now with the router using this edge as the reference. Chisel the middle out. Job's a good one. You need a sharpened chisel. You're tricking it. That, check it. A bit high still. When you're young and you get your chisels, I say that like I'm old, but you never think you'd wear them out, but it's getting short. It's actually starting to look quite short, me inch chisel. Time for beam number 2. That worked a lot better. Didn't cut into my bottom edge at all. Stage cuts just worked well to keep it all aligned where I needed to be. That was a lot easier setting the planer onto 0 and not taking the blade past sort of them bits where I'd routed and just milling the bit in the middle out. It's so quick and easy. Why didn't I think of that for the last one, eh? I mean, look at that for a bit of accuracy, really. It's like full of a gap on that line. Perfect. Ideal. Since this is the first one, I need to test that the 2 counterpart pieces work, because I've used the same jig for both bits. It might not mate together. It's not like I had a jig for each part, so I'm just going to check they fit together before I cut the wedge rooms in them beams. If I need to cut these back a little bit with the jig to make it fit a little bit better, then at least I know the wedge room's going to be in the right place. Look at that, that is a success and a half. That's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
It's not even wedged yet, that's just been pushed up. Yeah, well happy. Obviously have a bit of alignment in when I'm fitting it, but yeah, 9 meters long at the minute. It needs to be another one longer. So tomorrow's video we'll cut the notches out in this, put them folding wedges in, give it a try, and see what it looks like as a one piece. I'm really chuffed with that. Absolutely beautiful.